right, it was George Allen's 1993 campaign for governor that motivated me to become an active participant in the political process. The Democrats thought they'd be cute, and when George was in the United States House, they redistricted him into the 7th District, which at that time was represented by Congressman Tom Bliley. George Allen, being the honorable man he has always been, never considered running against a fellow Republican incumbent. So the Dems thought they were done with George Allen. Nope. George decided to run for governor, and he won going away in 1993. It was his work and leadership and the ability to work with the Democratic General Assembly that gave us welfare reform, abolishing parole for violent criminals, and major reforms to K-12 education. Most importantly and relevant today, Governor Allen declared that Virginia was open for business again. The policies he put in place attracted companies from all over the country to come to Virginia to set up shop. Jobs were created all across the Commonwealth, and today we desperately need that experience in the United States Senate. Please join me in welcoming our good friend and the next senator from Virginia, George Allen.
Thank you. All right, lucky 7th District Patriots, are you all ready to win? That's the spirit, because the lucky 7th is absolutely essential for Virginia. And America's future is going to be decided by the voters of Virginia in just about 30 days. You all have an enormous responsibility. It is great to see so many people here supporting Eric Cantor, who's doing a fantastic job as a leader in the House of Representatives. Some of you all asked, where is Susan? Disappointed that I'm here in her stead. Susan's earlier today was at Loudoun County, and she's right now at the Greene County Pig Roast. Both of us are working very hard. We're encouraged by the amount of grassroots support. The fact that this is the biggest Roundup in all the years that Eric and Diana have been doing this really shows that grassroots enthusiasm to get our country on the right track. I saw Dan Blake over here, and one of the best endorsements we got in this campaign is from the Fraternal Order of Police, which is a great endorsement. As well as NFIB, that represents small business, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. They know my record on jobs, and they know our opponents as well. This week we also got the endorsement from the Realtors, which is 30,000 strong, who know we need to get this economy going strong. And last week, about this time, I got the endorsement from the National Rifle Association. Now, folks, we need to get our country going in the right direction. As we go forward in this campaign, don't not necessarily talk about red versus blue and Republican versus Democrat. Talk about our positive, constructive ideas that will improve people's lives. Young people, and I know there's a lot of them here who are college students, this election's for them as much as anyone else. The job market for young people is the worst it's ever been. What we need to do is reinvigorate the entrepreneurial spirit of our country. That means we have to have tax policies that are fair and simple and competitive. We need to make sure that we don't have the worst in the world taxes on businesses, but better than average. And if we reduce those taxes to 20%, over 500,000 jobs would be created every year. And let's send a message to the world that America is open for business again. We need to rein in the regulators, the unaccountable, unelected bureaucrats who are trying to outlaw coal. My goodness, my friends, we are blessed in America with the most energy resources of any country in the world. We're number one, and Virginians from our coal fields to our coast are ready, willing, and able to provide America with the energy to power our country. We need to stop EPA's outlawing of coal, and on day one, if you hire me on to be your U.S. Senator, I'm introducing a bill to allow us in Virginia to produce oil and gas off our coast and use those royalties for roads and transportation. Eric Cantor's been getting that through year after year, and it dies in the Senate. We take over the Senate, we'll get it passed, and with Mitt Romney in the White House, we'll have a president saying yes to Virginia from our coast to our coal fields for energy and jobs. And folks, we stand strong for property rights as well, and there's an amendment on the Constitution that we support this election. The other thing is, we believe that healthcare decisions ought to be made by doctors and patients, not bureaucrats in Washington. And one of the very best ways to reduce spending in Washington is to repeal and replace Obamacare. All of these ideas, they get passed in the House of Representatives with the great leadership of Eric Cantor. They go over to the Senate and they just dry up like a glass of water in the desert. I see veterans here, and indeed every veteran, would you please stand up? Thank you. Thank you, and thank your families for serving and protecting our freedoms. Right now, because of the failure of leadership in Washington, in the White House and in the U.S. Senate, our military readiness is at risk, and over 200,000 defense and technology jobs are at risk as well. They had that failed debt deal last year. Eric and in the House of Representatives passed in May a way to avert those cuts. Again, the Senate has done nothing. They have not passed a budget in 3.5 years. This is unprecedented irresponsibility. So what does Tim Kaine and the Democrats say? They say we need to raise taxes. Raising taxes doesn't create any jobs. That'll cause even more job losses. And what's even worse is they are using the men and women in our armed forces, and unfortunately these 200,000 jobs in Virginia as political bargaining chips to raise taxes on job-creating business owners. And that is absolutely wrong, and it is dangerous. Eric, you did the right thing responsibly. We need to stop these cuts. And we need to stand strong for freedom and with the men and women in our armed forces. So friends, these are the issues that are at stake in this election. As you go forward, our target group should be anybody who uses electricity ought to be on our side. Anybody who drives a car should be on our side. They don't like paying $30 more than they did 4 years ago to fill up. Anybody who thinks healthcare decisions ought to be made by docs and patients. Anybody who pays taxes should be on our side. Anybody who has a job, works for a living, or wants a job should be on our side. And indeed, anybody who cares about the future of their children and grandchildren should be on our side. So as far as Eric and I are concerned, we ought to get about 100% of the vote. So friends, Thank you. Thank you for your prayers, your help, your hard work. We're in the fourth quarter. We got to put it over the line for victory, and all Americans will be watching the votes coming in the 7th District and throughout Virginia, and they'll be smiling and saying, thank goodness for those Virginians. In our time, in our generation's rendezvous with destiny, those Virginians stood strong for freedom, and we're going to have a team in Washington in the White House with Mitt Romney. With your help, I'll be in the Senate in the majority. And best of all, we're going to have Eric Cantor in his positive, constructive leadership, improving the lives of people at their kitchen tables, their small businesses. And it is my great pleasure to present to you Diana and Eric Cantor.